I have groundbreaking draft advice for the 49ers. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Welcome to Quality Control. I'm Grant Cohn. I know it's early on a Sunday, but I'm going to go golf later, and I wanted to give you something I didn't stream yesterday. And there's things to talk about. The combine is wrapping up, and I think that the 49ers offseason plans may have come into focus now that we know a little bit more about these draft prospects. So I'm going to get into a few of them, what the Niners should do in round one, what they should do a little later in the draft, a guy they could sign, a guy they could trade for, a guy they could fire, and a guy they might have to face twice a year for the foreseeable future. But let's just start off with let's call it like a mission statement. What the Niners should do in round one. Before I get into players or positions, I think it's important to remember what this front office has accomplished in round one in the last 9 years. They're going into an unprecedented 10th year. This is stuff that's usually reserved for Super Bowl champions, which the 49ers are not. And a big reason they're not Super Bowl champions is because of what they've done in round one. How they haven't taken the best player available in round one consistently. So what I would say to the Niners is you pick 27. You don't want to take some guy with a second round grade like you did 2 years ago in Ricky Pearsall. You don't want to reach for a player. Can you just take the best player available? That's your assignment. Take the best player available. You have enough needs that you could take the best player available no matter what position he plays. Because in 10 years, you've taken the best player available like once or twice, maybe once. Nick Bosa was the best player available. Other than that, you haven't been able to do that. And I'll just refresh people's memory. Last year, the Niners took Mykel Williams with the 11th pick. Is he better than Tyler Warren, Jalen Walker, Walter Nolan, Gray Zabel, Emeka Egbuka, Jahdae Barron, Jackson Dart? Is he better than Nick Emanworry? Carson Schwessinger? No, he's not. The Seahawks got two guys who were better than Mykel Williams after the Niners took Mykel Williams. And they took Mykel Williams because he filled a need. They needed another edge player in the wide nine. Unfortunately, he's not a wide nine edge player. He's a 3-4 defensive tackle who needs to put on 30 pounds. Good player, good run defender. Not the best player available. That was last year. The year before that, Ricky Pearsall, 31st pick. Was he better than Ladd McConkey, Cooper DeJean, Kamari Lassiter? Probably not. I guess we'll see. But at this point, I'd probably take Cooper DeJean. And the night of the draft, I would have taken Cooper DeJean as well. And then there was 2021. Niners traded up for Trey Lance. Could have had Jamar Chase, Penei Sewell, J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain, Micah Parsons, Rashawn Slater, Devontae Smith, on and on and on. Travis Etienne. I mean, so many better players. Odafe Owe. So many better players. And then in 2020, they took Javon Kinlaw over AJ Terrell, CeeDee Lamb. Some of these names. Justin Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk, Jordan Love, Jordan Brooks, Patrick Queen, T. Higgins, Jonathan Taylor, Antoine Winfield Jr. Really good players. Jalen Johnson, Trevon Diggs, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, that was a bad one. So what you don't want to do is just say, we need this player and we're going to take him and Chris Kaceric's going to develop him or something. You suck at drafting defensive linemen. You always take guys who don't rush the quarterback and they're run defenders, and you think that Chris Kaceric can teach them the unteachable, what they haven't been able to learn their whole lives. Joe Lee says, I said the Niners shouldn't draft Bosa. Hey, I didn't say I was better at doing this than John Lynch. I also said the Niners should take Jonathan Hines Allen. It's not like he would have been bad. He was healthy this last year. But yeah, I probably would have got that wrong. But would I have been fired for taking Jonathan Hines Allen instead of Nick Bosa? I don't think so. You get fired for trading up for Trey Lance and taking Trey Lance. I was against trading up, for the record. I wouldn't have taken Javon Kinlaw. I mean, I'm just saying. Not that I'm trying to be a general manager. I'm just trying to be quality control. There's a difference. I'm allowed to be wrong. But I haven't been wrong like that. I didn't want Javon Kinlaw. I wanted Jonathan Hines-Allen, who's a hell of a player. Niners always draft for need every year. Yeah, I hope they don't do that this year. All right, let's talk about players they could take in round one. Here's my draft crush, Vega Ioane. He is clearly the best guard in the draft. Here's what they say about him on NFL.com. They give him a 6.4 grade, which means he will become a good starter within 2 years, according to NFL.com. And here's what they say about him. Prototypical guard for physical run scheme with thick limbs, a broad frame, and plus core strength. Ioane plays with excellent contact balance and technique on both base blocks and double teams. He uses his hips and hands for leverage and displacement when drive blocking. However, he lacks athleticism and foot quickness to operate effectively as a move blocker. He pass sets with good posture and firm punch and can anchor against power. That's good. Though quicker at a lighter weight in 2025, he will struggle with twitchy interior defenders who cross his face in the run game and attack his edges in protection. Despite scheme dependence, Ioane projects as an early starter with a high floor. Okay, so what you might think is, all right, well, he's a big guy. He's good in pass protection. He's strong. He can push people at the point of attack, but he's not really the mover that Kyle Shanahan likes on the offensive line. I would say that that's true. I think he generally likes more agile offensive linemen, particularly on the right side of the offensive line, like Dominic Puni. On the left side, he's had guys who aren't that quick. Aaron Banks was not quick at all. When the Niners drafted Aaron Banks, people were like, why did they take him? He didn't fit the scheme at all. Because the left side of the offensive line is different. They run different scheme. They run different concepts to that side of the line. It's more the inside zone, powerful side of the line, which is why they had Banks, which is why they wanted Barch. They want a bigger guy on that side. So I think Ioane would fit what the Niners like in their offensive line. I think they need some power. I think they need a good offense, a good pass protector in the interior to give Brock Purdy a pocket to step up into, because he's constantly bailing out the back and spinning around and running left and right. I mean, if he actually had a really good guard, he could step up in the pocket and be a better pocket passer. And look, I don't know that Ioane is going to be there at 27. I think Daniel Jeremiah has him at like 11 on his big board. At least he did a few days ago. Dane Brugler has him at 13. He blocked me on Twitter. Dane Brugler. Whatever do to Dane Brugler? 13. But then PFF has him at like 25. And we'll see. I mean, there's some teams that clearly need guards. The Ravens, the Lions, the Chargers, who pick before the Niners, but they might decide they need other players even more. They might sign guards during free agency. Like, what's interesting about Ioane is he might be a player who falls to 27 or to 21, and maybe the Niners want to trade up 6 spots for him. But I'm just saying, like, if they're really truly going to take the best player available, they have to be prepared for scenarios where people they weren't necessarily expecting to be there are there. And what are you going to do? If Ioane is there, what are they going to do? They have to have this meeting and talk about it. The answer is take him. Maybe don't trade up for Ioane, but if he's there, he's the best player available, and he fits a position of need, you take him. And as we're seeing like other players perform at the combine, guys like Kenyon Sadiq, he was supposed to be there for the Niners. I mean, a lot of people had him in the late 20s in their big board, and then he ran a 4.4 flat or a 4.3 something. It's like, yeah, I think he's probably going to go in the top 20. So as he gets pushed up, and there's other combine warriors who get pushed up the draft board, guys are going to fall. And often it's a guard. There's a lot of times when guards don't go as high as you expect because teams want offensive tackles. Now, last year, Tyler Booker went 12, Gray Zabel went 18. So it's possible that Ioane goes really high. A lot of people think he's the best offensive lineman in the draft. But if he's there at 27, you got to take that pick. Got to make that play. Got to make that pick. That would be the person. I like him the most. Stop messing around. You don't need to have the best. You don't need to have 2 first-round picks at wide receiver. You don't. You want to have as many first-round picks in the trenches as possible. You have one at left tackle. It'd be nice to put one right next to him at left guard and actually give Trent Help some support at 38. So this is just one scenario. I know a lot of people think he won't be there at 27. I think there's a real chance he will be, and the Niners have to be prepared for it. So his name is, let me see. It's like a 5-syllable first name. I just call him Vega, but it's Ole Vavega Ioane. Ole Vavega Ioane, 6'4", 320 pounds, 33-inch arms. Yeah, he's what you freaking want. He could be their best offensive lineman soon. I mean, imagine having Ioane and Pune at guard. Ioane and Pune at guard. That'd be really good. Now you'd get a real center between them. You have a solid right tackle in McKivitz. You still have a very good left tackle, assuming you pay him. You could afford Ioane on a rookie deal with Trent Williams making $30 million a year. If they were to go get, see, to me, like if you don't get Ioane, what are you doing at left guard? Are you going to mess around at that position for the second season in a row? You could bring back Ben Barch, but that's not really an option. You could re-sign Spencer Burford, but he's not going to be cheap. I bet he gets $15 million a year. Jalen Moore did. Because Spencer Burford proved that he can like play the position and stay healthy and be serviceable. So if you want a serviceable left guard, you can bring him back and pay a lot of money for him. Or you could try to get better than serviceable, and the only way you do that is to pay almost Trent Williams money or to draft a guy. And if you don't take this guy, you take someone else in rounds 2 or 3, you might get it right. I just like to get the best one. Stop messing around. Make a real statement on the offensive line. The Niners have made it, like they keep saying you don't need to get the best offensive lineman. You need guys who score touchdowns. Man, bullshit. I disagree with that philosophy. The Seahawks just proved it wrong. You don't need 5 guys who are threats to score touchdowns on any given play. They had 1 wide receiver and 2 running backs that were real threats. And then one of the running backs went down and they were still fine. Kenneth Walker was a home run threat. JSN was a home run threat. Everyone else was just like Cooper Kupp, no. AJ Barner, no. Rashid Shaheed, yes, but like, will he catch 1 or 2 passes a game? They didn't draft him in round 1. It seems to me that the easiest way to lose a game is to get dominated in the trenches. You could have all these guys who can score touchdowns, but if your quarterback making $53 million a year has to get rid of the ball in 0.7 seconds or run for his life, what are you going to do? Their philosophy is wrong. They need to update it. Their team is soft. Their offense is soft. They want defenses to play base defense because Juszczyk's on the field. Well, defenses aren't anymore. They're playing nickel because they think you're soft. They can stop your run game without loading the box. They play 2 deep safeties. They don't do anything special to stop your running game. You know why? Because your offensive line is getting pushed around. Even Trent is getting pushed around at this stage of his career, isn't he? He did in the playoffs. He got. I've never seen him get pushed into Brock's lap more often than he did last year. Is that going to happen less at 38 than it happened at 37? I'm 38. I wouldn't bet on me in any type of athletic activity. I would get hurt. Which brings me back to my original point. Draft Ioane. All right, this is another one. I haven't noticed anyone say this or talk about this, but Carnell Tate is another player that just might drop to the Niners. And I'm not super wild about the Niners taking another wide receiver in round 1, but this guy is really good. These Ohio State wide receivers are incredible. That Ohio State wide receiver coach, I don't know if he's there anymore. Brian Hartline did a great job developing these guys. JSN went there. Most of the best wide receivers in the league either went there or LSU. So he was supposed to be everyone looked at him as the top 10 wide receiver, maybe the top wide receiver in the draft coming into the combine. 6'2", 192 pounds. So almost skinnier than Ricky. Definitely not Jawan Jennings. On the lighter side for a wide receiver. And then he ran a 4.53, which is not slow by any means. But it's going to affect his draft stock. I'm trying to find an example of a wide receiver who had 192 pounds and ran a 4.53 or a 4.54 and was drafted in the top 20. Can you guys think of one? When was the last time that happened? I know CeeDee Lamb ran a 4.5 flat at 198 pounds and went 17th. 17th. And everyone loved him. So I think there's a real chance. I mean, there's other guys like DeAndre Hopkins who ran a 4.57 at 215 pounds. And he went 27th. And he was a freaking monster at Clemson. Devontae Adams, he ran a 4.56 at about 210 pounds. He was a monster at Fresno State. He went in the second round. So, yes, Carnell Tate, he's an excellent player. He has the production. He has the tape. But a lot of times, you know how teams are in these drafts. Like, if they look at you and like, man, you're a little small, you're not that fast, like, they might think he's a reach at 10, 15, 20. He might be there. I don't know if he'll be there at 27, but I could see if he starts dropping the way Justin Jefferson did 5 years ago. Justin Jefferson wasn't even a top 20 pick. If he's there at 21, 22, I could see Kyle Shanahan trading up for Carnell Tate. He couldn't help himself. If he could have a team of just wide receivers, he would have a team of just wide receivers. And I don't know. It's like, it seems like drafting Carnell Tate would be just sort of admitting you got Ricky Pierce all wrong. Do they complement each other, or are they the same kind of receiver? Neither one's really a yak guy. Neither one's really helping you block, which is something you like, right? I mean, Kyle wants his wide receivers to be really good blockers because his runs go to the edges. Receivers are important. So you have Ricky and Carnell Tate as your receivers. You're not really getting much blocking from either position. Not getting much yak from either position. Neither one's a physically imposing tackle breaker like Debo was or Jawan Jennings was. But he's probably better at everything that Ricky does, I would think. Maybe more durable as well. Ricky's good. I could see that happening. I don't. No one else is talking about Carnell Tate farting or falling. Either one. It just seems like he's going to fart and fall in the upcoming draft. And you know what? I'm prepared for both outcomes. 4.53 at 192 pounds. And doesn't that seem like Kyle Shanahan was probably happy when that happened? I bet other teams were like, oh no. Kyle's like, he ran a 4.53? That's perfect. I don't like guys who are a little too fast. I don't like guys who are a little too big. If you could just be 6 feet right in the middle of everything, I would love that. So my draft crush is a 330-pound guard. Kyle's draft crush is probably a 192-pound wide receiver who runs a 4.53. But he's good. But again, if he's the guy at 27, that's the best player available. At least you didn't reach for some guy who everyone else thought should go in round 2. All right, hold on. I got another guy for us. So round 1, watch for Carnell Tate. Did you guys know that Trey Lance's brother is in this draft? His name is Bryce Lance. He's a wide receiver. He's 6'3", 204 pounds. He ran a 4.34. His athleticism score is a 99 out of 99 on NFL.com. They say he has traits or talent to be an above average backup. They give him a 6 flat prospect grade. 4.34 40, 1.49 10-yard split, 41.5-inch vertical jump, 7 flat 3 cone. Damn, dude. 4.15 20-yard shuttle. Just off the charts and everything. Here's what they say about him. 5th-year senior with 2 seasons of explosive production as boundary target. Lance lacks release quickness, short area agility as a route runner, but possesses outstanding ball skills and positional instincts that allow him to create catch space. He has run by speed on the FS level, but won't be able to rely on pure gas to beat NFL coverage. Are you sure about that? He will have to spend more time polishing up his route work. Lance needs a more intentional route tree on the next level, but he's smart, has good ball skills, and should compete for a role as a backup. Man, he sounds so much like his brother. He's got the athleticism. Of course, he needs to learn how to play the position, but he probably can. Strengths. Posted 2,000 receiving yards, 25 scores the last 2 seasons. Real build-up speed as a route progresses vertically. Good suddenness to stop and present on stop routes. Footwork and play strength create space at the top of the route. Intentional with bodying and shielding corners from his catch space. Blue chip ball tracking and hand strength to finish deep throws, makes athletic adjustments for back shoulder wins, stabs throws outside his frame with sudden sticky hands. Weaknesses: limited exposure to explosive athletes across from him. Will need to diversify and refine his release against pro press. Below average short area quickness and agility. That's not true. That's not true. Early lean tips off outbreakers, and he will fail to widen windows out of turns. Struggles to sink hips and quickly snap off comebacks, allows the football into his frame as a pass catcher. Okay, so he's a project. The Niners don't have a good wide receiver coach in Leonard Hankerson. He hasn't really done anything with the projects he's gotten. And he's Trey Lance's brother. Could you imagine how upset the Lance family would be if the 49ers drafted another Lance? Can you imagine what Trey has told Bryce about his experience with the Niners? I would imagine it wouldn't be good. Now, John Lynch did seem to work very hard to keep that relationship okay. When Lance came to the Niners and faced him, was it this preseason? Lynch went on the field and gave him a hug, and I don't know if he gave him a hug, but he shook his hand. Might have given him a hug. Kyle didn't. Lynch even said at the time he wanted to draft his brother. He was like, his brother's in high school. All I could think about was how much I wanted to draft him when he was scouting Trey. Can you imagine if Trey had 4.3 speed like Bryce? He'd actually be really good. I think that was the big thing that the Niners were surprised about with Trey. I think they understood the kind of passer he would be, but I think they felt that he could run so fast that it wouldn't matter. But then he didn't have the speed to really get the edge. He tried a few times and got smacked. I remember Justin Reed hit him really hard when he was facing Houston. And so they kind of had to like use him as Tim Tebow as a runner, where we're like, all right, well, we're just going to run you between the tackles because you can't get the edge like RG3 could or like Bryce Lance could. Like Trey couldn't play wide receiver in the NFL. He might be able to play tight end, maybe. But hey, the guy I just described, Bryce Lance, does that sound like a good fit with Brock Purdy? I don't know. It's like he doesn't have a route tree, but if you have a quarterback with a freaking cannon, you could hit people down the field on some big plays. Sounds like Christian Watson, who also went to North Dakota State and was playing with Trey Lance back there. I mean, if you put Bryce Lance on the Packers, if you put Bryce Lance on the Seahawks with Sam Darnold, he could absolutely hit Bryce Lance down the field on some play action throws. But you put Bryce Lance on the Niners, is Purdy going to throw the deep bomb to him? Hit him in stride? I mean, that's not really what Purdy does. Purdy wants a wide receiver who runs a 4.8. That's sort of his ideal running mate. He wants Juwan Jennings. He wants a guy who will run an 8-yard route on 3rd and 7 and make the catch while getting hit by 3 people. He wants a guy that will go up and catch a pass that's overthrown by 3 feet and turn an interception into a first down. How many times does Brock Purdy throw go routes? He probably threw 4 to Brandon Ayuk all time. I don't know that Trey Lance is, and again, I wonder if he even met with the Niners. I wonder if he would do that. I wonder how the Lances feel. Because yeah, maybe the Lances feel like the Niners ruined Trey's career. Or maybe the Lances feel like, they gave Trey a shot and Trey just couldn't do it. And now he's been on 3 teams and he just isn't an NFL quarterback. I don't know. But I want the Niners to draft Trey Lance's brother just because I feel like I got so many views and hits covering Trey Lance that I feel like I could get even more covering his brother. Just personally, just, self-interest, greed. That's why I want the Niners to draft Trey Lance's brother. Is he a good fit? No. But he's a good fit for my YouTube channel. Let's check out some super chats. KRNA-RMG says Niners always draft for need every year. True that. Marcel Wilkerson has been a member for 29 months. Thank you. Then he just gifted 5 Grant Cohn memberships to the people in the chat. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but that sounds very generous of you. Thank you, Marcel. I appreciate that. Someone get on that. There are 5 Grant Cohn memberships just hanging around, floating around. Someone claim them. Corey Coleman says, Grant, it's not Shanahan's offensive system. Seattle just won the Super Bowl with it. It's the Jimmies and Joes in the trenches. Niners will not be relevant until they fix this simple fact. Well, I mean, Shanahan's system has won Super Bowls. His dad won Super Bowls with it. Gary Kubiak won a Super Bowl with it in Denver. And like you said, Seattle just did. It's not necessarily the system, it's the play caller. It's the fact that Kyle Shanahan has choked in 3. He's had leads and he's gotten away from the system, which is a run first system. He starts passing with leads in Super Bowls in the 3rd quarter. He's done it 3 times in a row. That has nothing to do with the system. That has everything to do with the play caller. And in the 4th quarter, his offensive lines have folded. Part of the reason he can't run the ball in the second half of Super Bowls with a lead is because everyone knows that's how you're supposed to win games. His offensive line isn't good enough to push people around and wear people down. Harbaugh's did. He called it grounding the meat. You have a big offensive line and you run the ball. Usually that D-line should be cooked by the end of the game, but not against the Niners. So, yeah, go get Ioane. All right, I got another one. A lot of people are predicting that the Niners are going to get Max Crosby. He would be very expensive. He'd be worth it. You'd have to trade a first-round pick, probably 2, maybe 3. That's a lot, but it's still you get a, Hall of Fame player. He's up there. I mean, he's as good as Fred Warner. He's better than Nick Bosa. He's that good. So, should they explore it? Yes. If they give up 3 first-round picks for him, could you justify it? Yeah, probably. I don't think they'll do it, though. I don't think the 49ers want to spend that much money on that position. They're already spending, so much money on Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa, let me get his cap numbers real quick. Unless they're trying to figure out how to get out of the Nick Bosa contract, this year they got $23 million guaranteed for him. His base salary is $22 million. His cap number is $41 million. Next year, his cap number is $52 million. His base salary is $32 million. Like, that's so much cash they're giving him. $22 million in base salary this year, $32 million the year after that, $33 million the year after that. They really want to double that with Max Crosby. I'm not saying it'd be bad. You'd have a great D-line, but you'd have nothing at wide receiver, nothing on the offensive line, nothing at linebacker, nothing in the secondary. That's why I think they're going to sign Joey Bosa. I think Joey Bosa is so much easier than trading for Max Crosby. Max Crosby, you got to outbid 12 people, give up at least 1 first-round pick, probably 3, and give him $30 million a year. Like, you could do that, or you could go the cheap route, the moderately priced route, and sign Joey Bosa. They tried to sign Joey last year. He ended up signing for $12 million with Buffalo. I think the Niners offered him 9, something like that. They were close. We know that Bosa's parents want the Bosa kids to play together at some point. That point could be, how many more years is Joey going to be in the league? How old is Joey? Joey Bosa stats. How old is Joey? He's 30. He'll be 31 this year. He played 15 games last year. He had 5 sacks. He had 5 sacks a year before that, 6.5. So he hasn't really been good per se since he hasn't had 10.5. He hasn't had double-digit sacks in the season since 26. Never had more than 12 sacks in a season. Even when he was good, he wasn't that good. He's just like his brother in that he'll rush past the quarterback and give up scramble lanes. So having 2 guys like that on the field at the same time would be incredible. I just feel like at this age, coming off another year with 5 sacks and 15 games, he's not getting $12 million. He's probably getting the $9 million the Niners offered him last year. And if he wants to play with his brother, this might be the year to do it, man. Your career might not be lasting that much longer, Joey. And Nick just tore his ACL for the 3rd time. If he does it a 4th time, that could be the end of his career. We don't even know what he's going to be like when he comes back. So there's some urgency to get this done. The Niners were interested. He fits their country club culture. He knows people in the building. That's 85% of being on the 49ers. Do you know people on the team already? Yes? Okay. Tariq Owens was on the team for 2 years. Is he even in the NFL? Trent Taylor's still on the team. So Joey Bosa, he could, golf, wear polos, tuck them into the shorts, khaki shorts, Cabo. You know what I mean? UFC. I think they're signing Joey Bosa. I think they're going to sign Joey Bosa on like the first day of free agency. It's just so easy. It's as easy as hiring Raheem Morris. It's as easy as bringing Kwesi back to the organization. The guy is a known quantity. He's not going to ruffle any feathers. It'll make Nick really happy, which will make Kyle really happy. I just don't think he really helps very much. 5 sacks. He's not an outside linebacker. Doesn't he sort of play Mykel Williams' position? If you have Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa on the same defense, where does Mykel Williams play? Does he move to defensive tackle full time? Do you have a 5-man front? Do you have a 4-man front? Anyway, I just think the Niners need another player on their team who is concerned about the substation. Sign that guy. Or maybe Joey Bosa says, you know what? I just saw my brother tear his ACL for the 3rd time. He's super concerned about the substation. I don't want to be here. I don't think so, though. I feel like the players talk about it, but at the same time, they want their money. Like McCaffrey's been talking about it, like, hey, it's not nothing, and I'm the kind of guy who turns off my Wi-Fi and da-da-da-da-da, but I love playing for the Niners, and I would sign another contract in a heartbeat. We'll see. I say Joey Bosa to the 49ers. Wait for it. Here's another one. The Detroit Lions are open to trading David Montgomery. He wants to be traded. He's kind of gotten phased out. He used to have like a 1-to-1 timeshare with Jahmyr Gibbs, but Jahmyr Gibbs is probably the best running back in the league, him or Bijan Robinson. So naturally, they're trying to give Gibbs more touches as he enters his prime, and that's going to come at the expense of David Montgomery, who's 29. And he's a hell of a running back. He could start for most teams. He's not really the fastest guy to the edge, but he's a really freaking powerful between the tackles runner, and he's exactly what the Niners don't have, and he's way better than Brian Robinson. He's way better than Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason was the perfect complement for Christian McCaffrey because he just ran so much. He was so much bigger than him, ran so much differently than him, and people were kind of on their heels when Mason would come in the game, and they weren't ready for that type of speed and power or that explosion and power. David Montgomery's like that even more. And it's like, well, would he want to come to the Niners? He wasn't happy with his workload in Detroit this past year. His workload was what? I can get you that. 158 carries. That upset him. He started no games this year. He wants to be a starter. He wants, I don't know, 10 carries a game. He got 9 carries a game. That pissed him off. The year before he had 13. The year before that he had 15. And I know you're thinking like, well, how is he going to get that with the 49ers? I don't know. Didn't even Christian McCaffrey acknowledge at the end of the season, like, hey, I would not be against having someone to split time with. Didn't he sort of say that, like, if they want me on the field, I'll be on the field. I'm not going to ask to come off, but of course I'm open to splitting time. I think he knows that he can't handle another 400 touch season. I think he wants to have another extension. I think he wants his career to keep going. And at this point, at 30 years old, there's no shame in having a timeshare and being like a 1A, 1B type of running back and not like a bell cow. I think he'd be open to it. So if the Niners were to trade for David Montgomery, cost him a 5th round pick, maybe they could trade him Jordan James. He was a 5th round pick last year. You guys need another running back to complement Jahmyr Gibbs. Here's Jordan James. We'll take David Montgomery. And David, we're actually going to use you. Instead of what we did with Brian Robinson, we're going to give you 12 carries a game, and you'll start half the time. And Christian, you'll start half the time. Or we'll actually have some personnel packages where you're both on the field at the same time. But isn't that the kind of change of pace you would want with Christian McCaffrey? Like, that guy, he was in the same type of timeshare with Jahmyr Gibbs, who was like a young Christian McCaffrey. I think that would work. You just have to actually use him. Because if you don't get David Montgomery, I mean, imagine him on the Seahawks. Let's say the Seahawks lose Kenneth Walker because he balled out in the playoffs and he goes somewhere for a bunch of money and they don't want to pay him. If they trade for David Montgomery, he might be better than Kenneth Walker. Or just as good. I wouldn't want to face David Montgomery. I mean, if the Lions had stuck with David Montgomery and kept giving him the ball in the NFC Championship game in 2023 or 2024, against the Niners, they win that game. If they had been as committed to David Montgomery as the Seahawks were to Kenneth Walker in the playoffs, the Lions might have won the Super Bowl in 2023. I think he's a hell of a player. And correct me if I'm wrong here. Where did he go to college? He went to Iowa State. He was at Iowa State from 2016 to 2018. In 2018, who was the quarterback at Iowa State? Oh, Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, that was his freshman year. Does Brock Purdy have a middle name? I don't know. Brock Richard Purdy. Did you know his middle name was Richard? Dick Purdy. His middle name is Dick. That's crazy. Brock Richard Purdy. Wasn't that Jimmy's middle name too? Jimmy Garoppolo. James Garoppolo. You don't have a middle name? How do you not have a middle name? That upsets me. Okay, what were we talking about? Dave Montgomery. He went to college with Brock Purdy. They overlapped 1 year. Why not? I think that would be the move. Not Breece Hall. Breece Hall he also went to Iowa State, didn't he? He's more like McCaffrey. I think it'd be nice for the Niners to get back to like running backs who really freaking run hard. McCaffrey was fun for a while. You're never getting another McCaffrey, and he's not that player anymore. You don't have to have a Swiss Army knife at running back who leads your team in catches. You just need a guy who runs hard and gets like 5 yards a carry. You don't have to spend a bajillion dollars. You don't have to throw 70 passes to the guy here. Now, if they do want to get another Christian McCaffrey, I do like Kenneth Gainwell. He's a really good player. He's a really good receiver. He might be a better play. If they were to get Kenneth Gainwell, here's the thing. If they get David Montgomery or if they get Kenneth Gainwell, you might have to bring Christian off the bench. I think David Montgomery, I don't think. David Montgomery is a better runner right now than Christian McCaffrey. Is. Not a better receiver. Kenneth Gainwell is a better runner right now than Christian McCaffrey and maybe a better receiver too. Can the Niners trade Christian McCaffrey right now? Christian McCaffrey over the cap. Let's see. What would happen if they traded you today? Oh, they'd have 10 million in dead cap and 21 million. They would save that sucks. Kids, this is why you shouldn't extend old running backs. They could trade him next year and save 12 million in cap space. They probably will trade him next year because his cap number is reasonable. This year is 10 million and next year is 26 million. If they extend him, good God. So really, yeah, this could be the last year with McCaffrey. They could cut him next year. They could trade him next year. But they can't have another year where they're averaging 3.8 yards a carry. And yeah, bringing in Ioane or whoever at left guard will help. But yeah, if they bring in another running back, it's going to be interesting to see if Christian's actually better than that guy. If they bring in David Montgomery, I'm starting Montgomery. Christian, you are now our third down back. You are a change of pace back, and we'll put you in the slot sometimes. But on 1st and 10, we're handing it to Montgomery. Period. I think Montgomery, a 5th-round pick for this dude, he's a hell of a running back. Trade Jordan James for David Montgomery. Jordan James never going to play. You're not allowed to play offense for the 49ers until you hit 28. You have to have your frontal lobe completely developed before you can play for the 49ers, at least on offense. Brock Dick Purdy, man. How did no one know this? No one told me. All right, let's talk about something else. I think it's interesting, the 49ers injury issue, because it's been persistent for 10 years, and they only tell us what the issue isn't. They never say what it is. And they always say, well, nothing means more to us than the health of our players, and we're going to look into it, and we're going to figure it out. I don't know that any of those things are true. Is the health of their players that important to them? Because it doesn't seem like it. They're the most injured team in the league every year, and they don't make and he changes. And now this electric substation thing is an issue, and all Jed York does is dismiss it. Well, it's basically, there's no actual science behind it. And, it's probably, it's not a coincidence that we have the most Republican team in the league and our players are buying into it because it seems kind of like a political, like if you're of a political, a certain ideology, you're going to be more prone to believe things like this. That seems to be his attitude about it, which is very dismissive. And, maybe he's right. I don't have an opinion on the science. I don't know. I've listened to people on both sides. I think there's enough there that the Niners should address it, but they won't. Fine. Then there's the trainer. The trainer falls under the same umbrella. Injury stuff. And while we don't have definitive evidence with the substation, definitive science, we do have definitive opinions on the trainer from the players. He's the lowest graded trainer in the league. No other trainer got lower grades from the players than Dustin Perry on the 49ers. He's been with the Niners since 2017. He's been the head trainer since 2019. The entire time they've had injury issues. Their own players don't like him, don't approve, don't give him, they barely give him a passing grade. He's the lowest grade of any trainer. It seems to me if the Niners were truly concerned about the health of their players, this would be where you start before the substation thing. Your players are telling you you have the worst trainer in the league. Get a new one. Why wouldn't you? Unless he's a family friend, which he kind of is. He's married to the cousin of Matt LaFleur, who's a Kyle Shanahan guy. And it's weird how incestuous this whole tree is, whatever you want to call it. If they keep him, despite him getting the worst, the C- grade from the players publicly, then from a player's perspective, wouldn't you ask, like, do they really care? They won't do anything about the substation. They won't acknowledge it. They won't move it. They won't help us there. They won't bring in a new trainer. They won't even update the training room. Then the training room got a C- as well. There were other training rooms around the league that got worse grades, but C- training room, C- trainer. They've been getting low grades for years in this department. They get great grades everywhere else. It seems like the Niners care about game day experience for the family, travel experience. It seems like the Niners care about nutrition and having a good chef and having food that's delicious, having a good weight room. These are all things the Niners get A's in. They really want prospective free agents to understand what a good meal they're going to get in Santa Clara. Man, you're going to get a steak. You're going to get some chimichurri sauce. You might get some fucking béarnaise, and you could take that shit home. Take as many steaks home as you want. Eat up. Go to the weight room whenever you want and have the most up-to-date stuff in the weight room. But if you're hurt, you're dead to us. We don't care about you anymore. Isn't that kind of if they don't address this, how else do you take it? We really care about you until you get hurt. Then you better make like Fred Warner and set a freaking Guinness Book of World Record. You set an NFL record in recovery time. That's what George Kittle's trying to do, right? Don't hang out in the training room. Don't get too comfortable with the trainer. Get the hell out of there and get back and start eating steaks again. That's why I think the trainer thing is an even bigger issue than the substation. Because the substation is going to end up being a 50-50 split. Some people think it's real. Some people don't. And if the Niners don't address it, half of the people will be like, well, they're doing the right thing because it's just a conspiracy theory. So it's going to be controversial in a 50-50 split. The trainer thing should be total consensus. Which segment of Niner fans are saying, no, Dustin Perry needs to stay? No, let's keep the trainer with the worst grade in the league. I understand people being like, hey, man, until there's like real, like a lot of scientific evidence backing the substation thing, I'm not really going to, that might be a factor, but I'm going to think it's like 10th on the list of factors. The trainer, I can see people saying, no, this is the factor. This is it. And this is the first variable they need to address. Sorry, Dustin, nothing personal, but you've had 10 years on the job to find some type of a solution. You clearly can't. Got to bring in someone else. And you know what? They're not going to do that. And the fact that they won't do that makes me wonder who is so complacent here? Is it Kyle? Is it John? Is it Jed? Is it all of them? Jed said, I love that. He was on with, who was it? Kay Adams. Kay was doing like a quasi interview. And she said, like, Jed, I told John. I told John the other day, when you guys are healthy, you guys are in the Super Bowl. And Jed's like, I know. Well, if it's that fucking simple, then the number one thing you do this offseason is fire the trainer and get someone who's really good, who's not from this freaking organization, who does things totally different. If that's all it is. But you know what? How much you bet they won't? How much you want to bet that Dustin Perry will be the trainer throughout 2026? How much you want to bet they won't move their practice field? What does that say about this organization? If the health of your players is the most important thing, then act like it. Prove it. Don't just say it. It's easy to say that. Give us one action. One. Trainer or the substation. You got so many things you could do. Is that so? I mean, don't you guys agree with that? I'm going to look through it here real quick. I mean, you haven't been getting a ton of super chats and stuff. BNA established 1988 says David Montgomery needs to be more Lombardi to be a 49er. We have a standard to uphold. Our conservatism is more important than winning. Are you saying that David Montgomery wouldn't fit the 49ers culture? Wasn't it funny when Kyle Shanahan was talking about how much he wanted Cam Scatterboo, how great he is? He would fit. Although Cam's from Northern California, you never really know. You know what I mean? You can't put those Northern California white dudes in a box. You never know. All right, here's one more thing that's like sort of lightly Niners related. The Arizona Cardinals are rumored to be very interested in signing Jimmy Garoppolo. Here's why. Their head coach, Mike LaFleur, was the offensive coordinator the past couple of years with the Rams, whose backup quarterback was Garoppolo. So they've been working together recently in LA. And then when Jimmy was with the Niners, Mike LaFleur was the pass game coordinator from 2017 to 2020, 4 seasons. So they've worked together like 6 years. I know no Niner fan is scared of Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think much of Jimmy Garoppolo. I didn't think much of Sam Darnold. And really, Seahawks fans didn't think much of Sam Darnold until he won a Super Bowl. I mean, week 18, they were calling him their Jimmy Garoppolo. I just think it's really funny how life works. We're trying to figure out, like, how is this Kyle Shanahan era going to end? With a Super Bowl, or is someone going to, like, put the nail in the coffin of his tenure eventually? Well, this year, Sam Darnold didn't help matters for Kyle. Your former backup quarterback goes to a division rival and beats you in week 18 to take the number 1 seed, and then eliminates you in the playoffs, and then wins the Super Bowl on your field in your locker room. That's rough. I mean, that never goes away. What if on top of that, Jimmy Garoppolo beats the Niners next year? They have some crucial game in week 16 or 17 or 18, and freaking Jimmy beats them, and the Niners miss the playoffs. Is there a world where Jimmy Garoppolo gets Kyle Shanahan fired? Jimmy Garoppolo is the reason where Kyle Shanahan finally gets fired. The football gods have a sick sense of humor. That's what I've learned covering this team, covering this league. And that seems to be right up their alley. Because Kyle Shanahan, it seems like he has a lot of, like, skeletons in his closet. You know what I mean? He's made it this far, but, like, The Jimmy Garoppolo thing, you discarded him. You blamed him for everything, and you're a big reason he's a backup right now. It'd be kind of funny if he got revenge on you. Trey Lance, that's a guy with a chip on his shoulder. I don't know that Trey Lance necessarily has what it takes to come back and beat the Niners or even be a starter in the NFL. But if Jimmy did it, if Jimmy beats the Niners in a meaningful game next year, I think the fan base will turn on Kyle. Not that people want Jimmy. It's just like that's unacceptable, man. You can't lose to Jimmy Garoppolo. So I personally hope that the Cardinals, I think that'd be perfect for the Cardinals. Just I don't ask for much. I ask for a lot sometimes, but I don't ask for much. I just want to see Jimmy Garoppolo and Sam Darnold 4 times a year facing the 49ers. And I think it's bullshit that Jimmy never got to face the Niners with the Rams. I was really hoping, like, come on, Matthew. You're 38 years old. Take a week off. Let Jimmy do his thing against the Niners. Let's see what happens. The Jimmy Garoppolo versus Kyle Shanahan thing needs to happen at least once. And the fact that it can happen twice per season for the foreseeable future is just why I love this sport so much, so much. I didn't see the Cardinals' vision when they hired Mike LaFleur. I was like, this is terrible. Oh my God, you're going to bring back Jimmy to the NFC West? Beautiful. Phenomenal. He'll have Trey McBride, Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr. That's not bad. No defense there. They need a running back. But I don't know, man. It could happen. Go, Jimmy, go. I believe in you. Go to the Cardinals. Other quarterback stuff. I think it's going to be interesting to see who goes to Minnesota. They're saying they could bring in Kyler. They could bring in Geno. They could bring back Kirk Cousins. What about Derek Carr? Derek Carr is going to get traded. He wants to come out of retirement. He's a dome quarterback. He could go up there and throw to Justin Jefferson. I think that would be a better option than Geno. I would rather have Derek Carr than Geno. I'm not a Geno. I think Geno will continue to suck. I'm sorry. I'm not a Geno guy. I'm out on Kyler too. I was a big Kyler guy forever, but I'm out on Kyler because I just don't believe that Kyler loves football. I think he wants to get paid, but I think if he could get paid playing Call of Duty, he would do that instead. I think it'd be so cool to have Jimmy Garoppolo facing Brock Purdy. I already love the Brock Purdy Sam Darnold matchups. Those are great, but Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock, that'd be way better. Can you imagine if Jimmy beat the Niners? The Cardinals would freaking carry him off the field on their shoulders. Jimmy Garoppolo redemption. No one, and he'd be at the post-game press conference. This is for Grant. He always said I sucked. What about now, Grant? Come on, Jimmy. Just sign with the Cardinals. I'll buy your jersey. I'll be the biggest Jimmy Garoppolo fan. J. Rod says, finally caught alive in years. Grant is one of the hot guys in the press. One of the hot guys in the press for real. Did you guys like my little discussion with Tyler about hot guys? I like Tyler. He's funny. Of all the people I stream with, he probably has the least football knowledge. I'm just playing. But he might crack me up the most. He might be funnier than me. I don't know. He just has the ability to make me laugh, which is important. I feel like that's how Larry David would pick who should be on Curb Your Enthusiasm with him. Because I feel like that show is entirely improv, right? Like they don't actually have a script. They just sort of like have general scenarios they kind of improv their way through. And if you're funny, you get on the show. Well, that's basically how I do my show. We don't script anything. We have general talking points and we see where it goes. He always cracks me up. That's why he's on the show with me. I don't know. But maybe it's just his stupid freaking mustache. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Tyler, if you're watching, you're fired. Take care.